This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Tuesday, March 31st, the last day of March trading. And as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. All right, so we got a few things going on this morning. It's a little bit slow out there, but first thing I'm going to be looking at is VVUS. So before we were sitting in this consolidation, and it was actually pretty much perfect. We had a beautiful amount of buying that came in above that 350 level, especially right in the 360s from the first time that it came back up there. Okay, we ended up coming back down into that consolidation with a little bit of a pullback, and then obviously we just got to trigger up that it's including new buying that's coming back in. So based off the buying that we're seeing coming in at 370, we should have no problem being able to break this there's a resistance point right here and get up to that 4 level. Now, the only thing is that 4 really needs to show us that we'll be able to get up to 5. So we're going to have to see once we get, up there. We have about 25 cents. Like I said, the buying that's coming in right now between 370 and 375 is certainly showing us that we're going to, overall, we really should see a little bit of a pullback first, but we should have no problem getting to that 4. And then from 4, it's going to tell us exactly where, what we're going to be looking at getting towards that 5 level. Because remember, 5 is going to be a huge psychological level for a stock like this. But overall, definitely still getting that new buying. I really, really like the variables that we're seeing coming into there. Next thing looking at is AMRN. So AMRN took a pretty big hit. We can see closed at 1358, all the way down underneath 4, but it's been coming back up. The only thing that I'm not really a huge fan of is that we're still getting a huge amount of new selling. All right, as we were kind of pulling up towards that 450 level, we are seeing some new buying coming in, but remember, we know that people are going to be covering after such a huge fall that this thing had. So really what I'm going to be interested in is seeing, are we getting that new selling? And I mean, you can see right here, 431, which is those off-level prints, which usually going to happen pretty quickly. The biggest thing is that it's going to have to get out of this little consolidation that it's stuck in. Because right now we're just getting a real big mix of prints that are happening because of the fact that it's just really, overall on the larger side of things, if we consolidate it, it is very stuck. So I haven't seen enough buying to tell us that, that this thing really wants to come back up. And once again, we are starting to see that new selling coming back in. The only thing that we do want to think about and keep and understand as a variable is when you have a stock that gets hit this bad, okay, the amount of covering that ends up coming in, you end up getting what's called a short squeeze, okay? It's also called, a bottom fish, okay? What bottom fishing is when you take a big hit, and then it would be very easy for it to be able to move a few dollars up to the upside from people covering such a large drop. So just something to keep in mind. But as long as we keep seeing this new selling coming in over and over and over again, we're going to be looking for more room towards that downside. And one of the great things about it is that it is shortable as well. Now, the cruise ships, cruise lines, CCL, first one going to be looking at. All right, so CCL, we can see as we fell underneath there, wasn't a huge fan of the amount of selling that I saw, okay? And if I go back to my other one where it shows pretty much the entire morning, again, I'm just not a huge fan. We saw a ton of covering that's been coming in around those lows. And then really just not that much selling. Now, you did just get a bunch of selling that came in at 1104, but you got to understand now, this is, someone coming triggering it back towards that upside. So we are seeing over and over again new buying that's actually coming into this. And this is another one, 1280, it took a pretty substantial hit. You're talking about over 15%. So coming back towards that upside, as long as we start to see this new buying, it's another one of those kind of short squeeze where if we get the covering coming in, then, we really should be able to see a nice move back towards that upside. We did get a pretty decent, see, for a stock like this, I don't want to call it a show of hand because it really wasn't that many prints, but at the same time, some really nice prints that did come into the 11. So I am going to be expecting it to pull back underneath first before we would end up seeing a move back towards that upside. And then the only other thing that I really like out there is RCL, which is just once again just another cruise ship. Cruise company, excuse me. But if we come over here and we look, as it's been coming up, it's almost the same exact pattern that we see in CCL, and the same exact spot. We saw these ass prints come in at 28. Now, the reason I like RCL better is, one, because of range. The range is way bigger than CCL is, and number two, it's that it doesn't take as many prints as it does within CCL. So these 28 right here, this burst is actually a pretty good show of hand compared to the one that we saw coming into 11. So once again, it really did not pull back. I'm going to be expecting this to come underneath that 28, look like we're going to be coming towards that downside big time, and then end up coming back up. Now, the only thing is that if we continue up, this isn't that big of a position. So if we do continue up as more of an exception during the pre-market and we see this person go out, I'm not going to be expecting them to have to come all the way under 28 again and then come back up to make money. I'm going to expect the fact and anticipate the fact that they actually just made their money during the pre-market and end up getting out of there. All right. So other than that, I don't see, and Apple or everyday stocks as like usual. I don't really, kind of hit those ones too hard, but yes, beautiful show of hand right there. Absolutely, no question. 253.50. Yep, beautiful. Another one that I'm going to kind of put on my side list right now and make sure that you go out there and get shares for it is TLRY. I know Doug was talking about this yesterday, and it ended up making a really nice move. And then obviously, it took a pretty big hit, coming down $1, a lot for a $7 stock. Now, there's not really much here. You get a little selling around this 6 area. So there's not a ton yet, but at the same time, it is definitely something that I want to keep my eyes on. And so BA I saw before, so the 154 that we were coming into there. We're selling yesterday. I had Monster selling yesterday at 150 today, and is good buying during the AM. Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of up in the air right now. I mean, it's a little bit right. And then, don't get me wrong, I love this stock, and it's going to be able to, you're going to be able to trade it constantly. But it's right now, it's a little bit consolidated, and I kind of like the cruise ships a little bit better. But definitely keep that on your list. And then ZM, these two are just becoming pretty much staples to everyday stocks. And yes, definitely 146 and 147 showing nice buying coming into them. So you're going to obviously have to expect a little bit. 146, I'm okay with it bouncing right off 145, because if you look, it was at 806 this morning, so it did pull back from there. But the 147 is going to have to pull back again. So I wouldn't be shocked to see it come back, test this 145 before we end up coming back up above that 147. Did OMI print anything? Let's take a look. OMI. A little bit. I mean, nothing special, especially for the way that it's kind of trading. Volume's really low, and it's not really too much, Derek. Not really too much. If you look, I mean, it's like, nothing really up there around 10, which is really what we would like to see. 950, around the 950, a little bit. But so there is a little bit of buying higher, but nothing really too special. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? Another one, obviously, to just keep your eye on, because this has been a great stock for us, very smooth, is Oxy. It's trading like crap right now during the pre-market, but just remember, we have a ton of selling. Okay, that's underneath this thing at the 11 level. So just keep that in mind as we come into the morning. We have a really great story. So this thing is kind of pulling up off of the buying that, off of all the selling that we saw yesterday. And when this thing does turn down towards that downside, it's going to be, there's no question it has enough selling to break the 10 level. All right, guys, so that seems to be it. Let's make sure we get ready for the morning. I'm going to open up the room. You're going to be starting our level 3 lesson 1 in 5 minutes. All right, guys, talk to everyone later. Happy trading.